So the technology I'm going to be using for our backend service is going to be Google's Firebase. Now Firebase is really nice because it's just really easy to set up for like literally anything. Perfect for a startup project like this one or enterprise projects as well. But for this one, we are going to be using Firebase. So I believe it's just Firebase command and then I think init. And then this should create a folder. Let's see here. You're about to initialize a Firebase project in this directory. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. But we're just going to do functions for now. And then use an existing project. Go down to YouTube Auto Skipper. And then for now, we're just going to be doing JavaScript. I might be making videos in the future with TypeScript. Doing is uslint. No, we're good now. Install dependencies. Yep, let's install those dependencies now. Alright, so it just finished installing the dependencies. So now if we go here, we can see, actually this is going to be fun. You can see right here, I got a new pen tablet so I can actually write on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So right there is, you can see that little folder that it made called functions. So if we go in here, this is where all the dependencies are for our function. We have a getignore, package.json, so all the stuff that it has for us. I would not touch any of this, not yet anyways. So let's go to index.js, and let's just uncomment this and run Firebase so that we can actually get an MVP out there. So now we can just hit Firebase command deploy. And what this will do is it will deploy this particular function out to the cloud. If you guys receive this as well, all you need to do is let's expand this out. So you see here we're on Spark free, $0 a month. All right, I have reached my quota, but we're gonna go back here, select your account. And if you guys don't see your account, you're gonna have to go set that up yourself. But don't fret, you're actually not gonna be paid, or you don't have to pay anything at all. It still will be free. But the way that we're gonna be, like, even with my so I have my two extensions right now. I have them both using Firebase, and literally for only one of them, I'm being charged 5 to 6 cents a month, and that's handling probably just over 100 users. So if you're expecting, so you can probably, you know, the way that we're structuring this out, if you have 1,000 users, the way that we're using Firebase like I am, then it'll equate to probably 60 cents. If you have 10,000, probably $6. It could fluctuate from there depending on what else you add to your project. But now that we have billing enabled, let's go ahead and try to run Firebase deploy again. All right, so now that it was deployed, we can actually see that it spit out this function URL. So we can actually control click this. I'm not going to do that because it's going to bring up another browser that I use. But if we go ahead and go to that URL, there we go. Hello from Firebase. It says that here. Okay. Perfect. So next thing on the dock. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to remove this. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be saying if request.header, if the authorization, if there's an authorization header, then we are going to try to parse out the token from it. So we're going to make a variable called token and then make a try catch. Oh. Making a try catch, and then we're going to say token is equal to await admin.auth.verify ID token. So before we move any further, we need to import a new library. So we're going to say require Firebase admin initialize app, and then we're then going to do another one where we're going to say Firestore is equal to admin.firestore.collection and then we're going to say subscribers. All right, and then we're going to say verify token ID, and we're going to say request.header authorization. And we're going to say if that doesn't have an email, then we're going to say response.send status. We're going to say 403. Or no, we're going to say 40. We're going to send a status of 401. And then once that happens, so we can do a return. And then if there's an error that happens with trying to verify the ID token, we're just going to say functions logger, give out an error, and then just say failed to get ID token. And then for the second argument, that's going to be the error. And then after we log out that, then we'll say response send status 401 again, because again, if there's no authorization header or it failed to parse out an invalid token, then yeah, you're unauthorized. You shouldn't be allowed to do this. So let's then add another logging statement here. Saying no email associated with the ID token. Don't need to send an error for that. So next, if they do have a valid email, then we are going to continue on with our lives. And next, we are actually going to pull their information from our database, our subscriber database. So we're going to say var subscription is equal, oh my gosh, is equal to await admin.firestore.collection, or wait, sorry, we're just going to do Firestore here since we've already got our collection defined up here. And then while we're doing this await here, if you're using an await in a function, you need to make the outer function an async function, and this is completely fine for a Firebase function. Yeah, so now we're going to do firestore.get, and then we are going to be getting the token email, because what we're going to be doing is with each document in our database, the ID for that document is going to be the user's email. This is going to be really easy for retrieval, like we're going to be doing here. So yeah, then after we get, oops, this actually needs to be doc, because we're going to be retrieving a document, getting that data, and after we get that data, then we need to actually pull that data in. Actually, I'm not quite sure exactly. It reads the document referred, so it's going to read the document probably locally, and then data will then parse that into an object. Yeah, so it retrieves that as an object, storing it into this variable here. So now after that is we're going to be storing in our database a date for when they subscribed. So we're going to say subscription date. If there's no subscription date, then we're just going to send a status of 403, meaning that they're forbidden from actually accessing, because like they are authorized, but they're forbidden from continuing any further. So that's why we're going to send it for. You can send any 400 or 500 levels response that you want, but in a RESTful API, typically you want to do a 403 if the user is already authorized. So if there is a subscription date in the object, great. What we're going to be doing is we're then going to be parsing out the subscription date. So we're going to say subscription date is equal to a new date, and that'll be a subscription dot subscription date. Basically, we're going to be storing the data as a string in the database. So then we're going to be say if the subscription dot interval is equal to monthly. Actually, we're going to be changing up this wording here. This is going to say end date, the subscription end date. So what this subscription date field is going to have for a value is when they subscribe. So if they subscribe today, then the subscription date will be the string of today's date. And then what we're doing next here is if they paid for a monthly plan, we're going to be increasing that month by 1. And then that will be the end date. And then if today's date is before the end date, then they are subscribed. Otherwise, if this is their end date and time's moving this way, if this is their end date and today is over here, then we know that they haven't subscribed. So we are going to give back a 403. So if you have a monthly plan or a yearly plan or a daily plan or whatever, you can change this here, and I'm going to be showing you how I'm setting this up later because we still need to do Stripe. But we're going to say interval if that is equal to monthly. Then we're going to say subscription end date set month is going to be 1 plus subscription end date get month. So this is going to be incrementing the month by 1. And if you had yearly, you would say the set year 1 plus get year. But we can set that up later. Next, we're going to check to see if today's date is going to be before the end date or if today's date is going to be after the end date. So actually, I could write this down. I don't know why I'm not writing this down. So let's say this is the subscription end date. So the subscription end date is here. If they subscribed here at this time, and then this is today, then we know that today, we know that right here today is less than or equal to the subscription end date. Otherwise, if their subscription end date is here, and some time has passed, and then today is here, then our today is greater than the subscription date. So they're good here, they are not good here. So just to set that up logically is we're saying, okay, whenever you have subscribed, we're going to be setting that a month out since you have a monthly plan. So after that, we're going to say if subscription end date get time, so this is the epoch seconds, if that is greater than or equal to now, then we know that they are good and that they are that they actually have a valid subscription. So what we'll send back to them is we'll send back to whoever called this is we're going to say is subscribed true. Otherwise, if that is not the case, then they're in our system, but they just haven't updated their subscription. So we can just say response.send status of 403, meaning that they are yet again forbidden from doing anything in our app since they have not subscribed. And then if anything happened inside of here, we're just going to say logger error, and then just say something happened when checking subscription, and then just giving that error there. And after logging that out, then we'll just send a response, send status of 500, since something internally happened. 500 just means an internal server error. Again, you can go check out RESTful codes that you could be using. So we'll be saving that, and then, oh yeah, that else statement. So if there is not an authorization header, then we're going to send a status of 401, saying that they are unauthorized because they just didn't really give us any data to work with. So we're going to be saving that, and then we're going to be doing is we're going to be sending that out. So we're going to say Firebase command deploy. Oh, we got invalid contents in the credentials file. Alright, I had found the issue, so I don't know how it let us do it the first time, uploading that function, but what I had to do was, if we go back to our project, and then you go over here to the gear, click project settings, and then go over to service accounts. Here we have to click generate new private key. Once that key, or I guess I'll just do it again. So once that's downloaded, then what you'll do is you will go to that key, copy, or go to that file, not the key. Go to that file, copy that file, and then go to your project, and then put it in the root of your project, and then name this firebase.json. Say yes, it's gonna, we're gonna want to overwrite the original firebase.json. So we're going to keep that there, but then also what we're going to do is we're going to go to code and go to our git ignore, not inside the functions but the root, and our git ignore, we are going to ignore firebase.json, not dot. Ignore fire. So what this will be doing is it'll be ignoring it. If you guys ever want to put this into your Git repository, I would highly recommend not to do that, because that JSON file contains sensitive information that people can use to gain access to all your stuff. So do not store that into your Git repository. If you ever do, immediately delete your repository and then delete that file and then create a new repo. So yeah, but once you have that renamed to firebase.json, I'm going to be blurring that out anyways. Once you have that renamed to fire.json, then go ahead and do the deploy. So it'll deploy it, and what we can do is we can call that URL again. So you can see here, let me just zoom in. So you can see here, unauthorized. Yeah, because we're not sending in the authorization header. So if you guys want to try this out, I would recommend getting this app. It is called Postman, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be copying this URL, putting it into Postman. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And then we're going to add an authorization header. So we are going to add, actually let's do it manually. So we'll say authorization, and then give it a value of anything you want. Since we don't actually have a valid token, you need to figure that out within your Chrome extension. If we click send here, we should get back a 40. Looks like we got back a 401 unauthorized, because this is not a valid token. So that is working. Alright, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up a fake user for now. So let's go ahead to Firestore database, click create database, and then we can just say start in production mode. Actually, let's start in test mode. Or no, let's just do start in production mode. and then also set this to wherever your region is. I'm just going to do US Central. Alright, so now our database is ready to go. So let's go over to rules real quick. We're going to change this, and we're going to say I believe request auth UID does not equal null. I believe that'll work. Click publish. And we're going to be figuring that out later, I guess. All right, so let's go to data. Let's go to start collection. Collection ID is going to be subscribers, the same ID that we used here. So subscribers, and then the document ID is going to be your email address, which is going to be really easy. So you just click over here. It should give you your email right underneath your little picture. So if you take that email, put that as your document ID, and then we're going to be adding a subscription date, and go to your, and then the way that we're going to be doing this is I'm just going to click on inspect, go to my console, and then just type in new date dot get let's see, or no, to date string, no, to ISO string, I believe, to ISO string. All right. Yep, so we're going to be taking this string here. We're going to be copying this guy, putting him in here. And that should be good to go. So we're going to click save. Cool, so now we have our collection. So a collection just has a set or like a map of a whole bunch of documents. And then inside of that document, we're just going to be having subscription date for now. And if we go here, and actually, all right, so we wrote out our backend code. We have ourselves in our database. Now we need to update our Chrome extension so that when we log into the Chrome extension will then reach out to our API that we just provided, our subscription API, to check to see if we're subscribed. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, yeah. So let's go to our background script. All right, so we're going to be changing out this console.log and adding our own function here. So we're going to say this is the user cred, because this function call returns back a promise that contains a user credential. So with that user credential, we're going to be saying user cred.user get ID token, passing in true. Then once we get that ID token, so once we get the ID token, after I fix this arrow function, so now we're going to be passing that ID token to our backend. So we're going to say fetch, and then passing in our URL. That is not our URL. Our URL was, if we go to our history here, we pass in our URL here, and then after that we're going to be defining our header that we need to pass over. So we're going to say headers, and then that is going to be an object, and then we are going to have authorization as the key, and then our value for that key is just going to be ID token. Then once we do that, then what we'll be doing is once we get our response back, we will say, once we get a response, we're going to say response, we want you to parse your body that comes back as JSON, as a JSON object. And then once we do that, then we'll say data, and we'll just do a console.log data. So we should be seeing if the is subscribed comes back here in a log statement. So let's try that out. So let's go back. Let's go back here and go to manage extensions. Do I have it here? And then we're going to click reload, or we're just going to refresh our code here, and then also we are going to pin it up here. So let's click on service worker. That'll bring up the dev tools, and then let's go ahead and click the action there. Alright, access to fetch, blah 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 from origin has been okay. So that error will happen because the Chrome developers made it so that they locked down the network of your extension, but that is okay because we can open that up here. So you can add this anywhere, but oh yeah, so underneath host permissions, what we already have, we are going to add, we're going to be adding in our URL, and we can say hello world here as well, specifying our specifying the entire URL endpoint, including the path. So that should work. Let's go back, refresh that, and then that is disconnected. So let's open up the service worker again, click on the action button. Been blocked yet again. I am dumb. I copied the wrong URL, so we're going to go to functions, and I'm just going to copy it from here. So tiny. Alright. I put in a URL from another project of mine, so this should be the right one. That is saved. Now let's go back here, refresh, click on our service worker, click on the action, and unexpected token F. So we can actually check out our network here, and we can see that we got back a 403. And let's go check our function, see what happened. Failed to get ID token. Decoding Firebase ID token failed. Make sure you pass the entire string. Yada yada yada. Okay. I did forget to do one thing, which is in our database. We forgot to add an interval of monthly. So like if I had subscribed monthly, then that'll let the code know that I am. Alright, so click on service worker, click on the play button. Alright, that looks good. Hey, there we go. So we are subscribed. Cool. You can see there is subscribed true. Now, if I were to go here and let's say that maybe the last time I paid for my subscription was a year ago, back in 2020, I'll set that to 2020. And then we can actually click on our action button here, and then you'll see there uncaught exception, unexpected token F. So if we go to our network, we'll actually see that we turn back a 403, meaning that we are authorized into the app. We're just forbidden from doing anything with inside of it. So we are authorized, not able to do anything inside of it. Perfect. So change this back to 2021. Update that, and then call it again, making sure that it works. We're just going to be doing a happy path only. I'm not going to be doing any like error catching and then what we should be doing on error catching. I'll leave that up to you guys to do, but I'm just going to be doing happy path. So boom, you can see there is subscribed is true. Great. Alright, now that we actually know that if the user is subscribed or not, before we get on with PayPal or anything like that, we are going to let the front end know so that whenever the user tries to do any action on the page, like skipping the ads, we'll let them know whether or not they'll be allowed to do that. So within our content.js script here, we're going to be adding some line to the top. We're going to say var port is equal to chrome.runtime.connect. And then you don't have to do this. I don't believe you have to give it a name, but we're going to give it a name of just subscription. So this is just going to check the subscription status. And then after declaring that, we'll say port on message, add listener message. Since the only message type that we're going to be receiving from our backend script is going to be the subscription check, we're just going to do a very simple if statement here inside of this function. So we'll just say if message dot is subscribed is equal to true, or oh my gosh, we're going to say if message dot is subscribed. If that is true, then I think we're going to just have a global variable called is subscribed. We're going to set that equal to false for now. I probably wouldn't recommend doing this, but we're going to do it this way just for educational purposes only. Is subscribed is equal to that. Okay. And then we can add that here. So if the thing that changes on the page is available, is the inner text there, and then if that inner text contains skip add, then we want to click on that to simulate a click on that element, but also we want to know that they are subscribed. Okay, so that should work. Let's leave out of that and then go to our background script. So blah, blah, blah. So here when we get back our data, what we can do, sorry, hold on. So instead of doing this port on message add listener, we're going to be removing this, and we are going to say chrome.runtime. We're going to say chrome.runtime on message add listener and then add the message. So that should be good from there. So basically we're going to be receiving a message from the back end, because what's going to be happening is when we go to actually click on this action here, when we click on that, that will fire off this code here, and then from here we want to send a message to our front end, our content script, saying, you know, if they're subscribed or not. So here what we'll be doing is we'll make this into a multi-line function, and we'll say Chrome tabs query, and then just say active is true, meaning that the whatever current tab we're on, if that is true, then we will have a function. Oops, let's just this function is going to be receiving an object called tabs, and then we can then say chrome.tabs.send message with the with tabs add 0.id, and then just give that the data. Otherwise, if anything fails, we can do a catch here for the error. So if that call fails to our backend for whatever reason, we can just say console.error e, and then do the same thing up here, copy this, paste it down here, and then just say passing an object back saying just is subscribed false. So if any error happens at all, we just don't really care, just say false. And then we'll do the same thing for this catch as well. So we'll say E, doing this. So basically just doing the same thing here. If any error happens on, what is it, on get trying to sign in with a credential, then we'll just say is false. Cool. So I believe that should work. I forgot, we might need to do something because in our background we are calling this function chrome.tabs. We need to make sure that we have access to that. So if we go to permission, if we see permissions here, we have just have identity and identity.email. We'll also need the permission of tabs. So we save that, and then we'll need to reload the extension. Go to YouTube, refresh the page, or sorry, go back to our extensions page, go to details, and then allow an incognito. We're going to set that to true, and then go back to YouTube, refresh, and then you can see our extension here. So if we click on a video, maybe we can, okay, so here's an ad. So video will play after ad. We don't want that kind of an ad. We want a different kind of ad. Okay, so this one's going to end in 5 seconds. So, okay, it didn't automatically skip the ad. Cool. So what we'll do is we will go back to YouTube. I recommend closing out the window, opening up a new one, because that'll reset how we get displayed an ad. Otherwise, we'll have to wait like 10 videos or whatever. So let's click on the extension. That should do its job. Hopefully it worked. We can actually see if that worked by going to the Surface Worker. And let's click on the extension again. Okay, we got a 200. We got is subscribed true back. So that should have set that variable to true. So we can go to inspect here, and then go. No. Okay. And then let's try and watch a video with an ad. Hopefully, now that the Chrome extension thinks that we are subscribed, it should automatically skip the ad. So let's try to find another video. The video will play after ad. We don't want that kind. Maybe after this one. Okay, so 5 seconds. So hopefully it'll auto skip. It did not auto skip. Alright, so I did screw up somewhere. So what I needed to do was over here, back in our background script, if we scroll down all the way to the point where we're about to send a message, I just needed to add this right here. Current window is equal to true. So active is true and current window is true. Set that for all the times that we ever query for the tabs. So one here, and one here. All right, so after you do update that in the current places, because I believe with the active true, I believe that'll default to the non-incognito window. Unless we say current window is true, then the current window, whether it's incognito or not, it'll use that one. So once you make that change, go ahead, refresh the extension, open up an incognito window so that we can get ads on YouTube. And then click on the action here. And then when we do, we can go to inspect, go to the console, and then see right here, object is subscribed true, meaning that in our content script that runs on the web page, right here, we can see that we did log out that message. Is subscribed is true. So we're setting this to true. The stuff that we got back from the background script. Where did that DevTools go? So you can see is subscribed true. So now our app should work. Let's go ahead and click on a video. You'll see here, so cool, I'm not clicking anything. Automatically skipped the ad, which is amazing, perfect, the way that we wanted it to go. Now another thing is Like, this is a very bad user experience. You don't really want to have your users clicking on the action here all the time. This is just an example, not really an end product that you should be doing. I recommend maybe adding a page, like a little pop-up page, which you can go find in another video of mine, which I'll probably link here. But yeah, make a pop-up page, maybe have like a login button, and then when they click at that login button, you set that is subscribe variable on the content script to true. Then that way they can use ads. So